In my last video, I spoke about the connection between how we make business decisions and how that may impact our brand reputation and whether that's important or not. And if you watched that video, you would have seen that I did say that I believe that it is important that when we are considering making a business decision, that we do think about how this is going to impact the brand reputation of the organisation. And the intent of this video today was to raise examples of some stuff-ups, if you will, in decision making that have impacted the brand reputation of global organisations. And lo and behold, what should fall at my feet during this week is the recent announcement by ANZ of 3,500 redundancies. Now, obviously, that is not a positive news story, but what sat behind that was the way that it was mismanaged. Someone has made a decision somewhere that we're going to send emails out to those who are affected by these redundancies, telling them where to drop their laptop off, and yet not one person, not even their immediate manager, has spoken with them about the fact that they're going to be made redundant. This is not the way you handle redundancies. It is something that should be very much focused on treating the affected employees with dignity, because more often than not, this is about the business overall and not the performance of those who have been made redundant. And I was told, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, but apparently this has happened twice, that the ANZ has made that decision, sent these emails out, the CEO has had to apologise, and yet here it is again. And if you're having to do that twice, it's not a very good look, and it's probably not taken as being very authentic either. One of the more well-known issues with brand reputation, or damage to brand reputation because of business decisions, is the United Airlines issue, which happened back in 2017, when there were the airline asked for people who were already seated in the plane to remove themselves from the flight. They wanted 4 passengers to step off the plane, even though they had offered $1,000 in compensation. No one stood up for that. So the airline just picked 4 people that they decided they were going to take off the plane. And one of them was a doctor, and he needed to be in his destination that day to see patients. But United Airlines, in their decision making, decided that they were going to get security to come onto the plane and drag this doctor off the plane. Now, in doing that, security got quite physical with this passenger, and of course, in this day and age, people were filming what was happening. The result of that physical removal of the passenger was that he had a concussion, he had a broken nose, he had 2 missing teeth. Now, the way United Airlines decided to manage that post the incident really impacted their reputation. They, went into, I suppose, denial mode in some respects. Oh, we've never done this before. We've never had to remove anyone like this. We've always, had people have already been denied access to their flight prior to getting on the plane. And when they've done that, it's only been something like close to 4,000 people out of 86 million passengers. But yet this was the time that they did it, and they did it in such a way that it was very damaging to them. The financial impact was huge. I mean, within a couple of days after the incident, they lost something like $1 billion, I beg your pardon, in their market value. But it was their reputational damage that really was impacted. Their approval ratings dropped something like 69% in the first 24 hours after that incident occurring. And there were a number of people alleging that it was possible that this doctor was targeted because of his Asian background. This led to, petitions going to the White House, passengers boycotting United Airlines, and, other airlines benefited because passengers went elsewhere. And even though, this was back in 2017, and even though the airline then made a number of policy changes around how they would, make decisions around how they handle these sorts of situations, even to this day, their reputation really hasn't, improved since that time. It's still affected. And I suppose the fact that here am I, 8 years later, still talking about it, and other people still talk about it. You can find articles about it still. That damage still lives on, and they haven't fully recovered from it. And it leads me to one that's a little bit closer to home. Australian cricket. We had the ball tampering scandal all those years ago, 2017, 2016, something like that. And that led to a major impact on Australian cricket, especially for those big name sponsors, people like Qantas and Forex Gold and Sanitarium and Toyota. They all fell away from Australian cricket. And, individual cricket players also lost their individual sponsorships along the way. And what came out of all of that was that, here's this decision being made on the field by the players. They intentionally did that. They were prepared. They had the sandpaper there ready to go. And they intentionally did that. They made that decision. But what also came out was that the board of Australian cricket had a lot of difficulty in making strategic decisions. And that comes back to some of the things that I said in my last video, is that if we have people in the organisation at the highest levels who are making decisions without thinking of the consequences on the brand reputation of their organisation, then how can we expect anybody else in the organisation? I don't like saying it this way, but if you're going right down to the lowest level in the organisation, they're going to be making the same sorts of decisions. And it comes back to us as individuals, what is the decision I'm going to make? How is this going to impact the brand of our organisation? So if it doesn't happen up here, it's not going to happen down here. I was fortunate to work in an organisation at a time where it didn't matter what your role was and where you worked in the organisation. We treated that business as our own, and when we made our decisions, we were definitely thinking about, what's best for the organisation. And that is one of those things I'll come back to when we are making our decisions. Is this for the better good of everyone in this organisation and for the organisation as a whole?